So I'm here with Travis Menefee from ATCO Transport. Travis, tell us a little bit about who you are, your position, and a brief little overview of ATCO.
As you said, I am Travis Menefee. I am with ATCO Transport. We're a trucking company out of Chesapeake, Virginia, primarily. We also have a facility in Wilson, North Carolina, along with hopefully soon a facility in Richmond, but we're working there. The trucks we run are tractor and trailer and dump trucks. We're primarily focused on the construction and design build industry, and I'm focused on the HR, the safety, the payroll, the operations, anything and everything that has to do with technology or the software and hardware sides of technology in the company and the way we use it.
So you're a man of many hats, as a lot of people are in the trucking world, any small business. So Travis, we've been knowing each other for a couple of years now. We were introduced through your insurance partner from Brisk Insurance. And, think back, I know it was a long time ago, but think back to life before AvatarFleet. Tell us a little bit more about what was life like before and how have we helped?
How it failed or how?
How we helped.
How y'all helped. I'm sorry, there's a knot in my ears. Well, everything prior to Avatar was paper. There's still a lot of paper in my world. I don't know if I'll ever get rid of it, but I can't stand paper. If I showed you my desk right now, which you can almost see just by turning the camera down, but I won't embarrass myself too much, it's covered in paper. I mean, OSHA 300 forms, in addition, the workers' comp claim from beginning to end, customer quotes, the simple IRA and the people that help us put the simple IRA together, supervisor daily activity logs, truck accidents, child support claims, just all over my desk as if I have no direction. But I do have a direction. And a lot of that is directed because I've been able to put it, not that stuff, because they still send it to me in the mail or the doctor's office sends it to you by fax machine, but the stuff that is starting from scratch with a candidate online with an electronic application has made my life so much easier because it takes file cabinets out of my office and puts them, I guess, on the AWS, but it allows for me to have access to it in multiple different ways, but at the same time, it allows for it to not just pile up and become something that is ultimately a nightmare. Prior to applicant care, I literally had another desk behind me that I had a assistant helping me go through applications and figure out how we were going to process those applications after they'd already been rejected or already hired. They were already working for us and we hadn't even completed all the fundamental steps to really onboard them properly. And it was just having to get all that paper moving, which was overwhelming.
So that's awesome. Eliminated a desk behind you and someone coming in your office all the time to move, shuffle papers around. Yeah. Have you seen that? So organization, yay. Sanity, yay. How about from just moving speed to hire? How have you seen that get faster?
It's night and day. Drivers communicate really well with smartphones and in the mobile world, but they don't really communicate well with smartphones because smartphones make them smarter or anything. It's because it's easy to text on a smartphone, and that's the platform. They can communicate two ways. They're always going to try and be on the phone talking to some random person, I assume, I don't know, or they're going to text. Now they're regulated where they can't text and drive, thank God, and they can't just hold the phone to their ear. But if you want to communicate with a driver, you can't just get them to come to your office, and that's the old way. The way we used to do it is they would see our commercial, they would see our advertisement in some sort of paper form, whether it's the newspaper or some other publication, and they call us up and we tell them to come down. We hand them a physical packet of paper that's an application. We do an interview and a test drive, and the onboarding process, or at least the second phase of the paperwork, would be handed to them if they were going to be hired right then and there. And we try and get that done right then and there, and then get them back the next day or sometime in the near future. So once you got them here, it was pretty quick, but that was always the hardest part.
Right.
It's a lot easier now with Avatar to stay in touch with them, to reach out to them, to see what's going on, update yourself on how much you've talked to them, what their status is. Maybe they're over the road driver, and you've got a note that they're going to be back in town on Wednesday, so you want to touch base with them on Tuesday just to make sure they're going to be available to still come in for that interview. But you also have already got their application completed, so you know who they are. You know what kind of questions you want to ask them when they get here for the interview. You don't have to be totally cold. The whole thing doesn't start off cold the moment they walk in.
Right. So in a couple pieces, what I heard there is, first, we're always looking to see, hey, Travis, how many more applications are you getting now that you are using A-Suite versus the paper world? And that's kind of hard to measure because before, there was opportunity. What guy came to your website after seeing your ad and said, oh, I got to come in? I'm not doing that. So it's hard to measure those folks that you weren't even talking to before, but you can't compare apples to apples are completed applications in the digital space versus the Stone Age space. I'm not sure are you seeing a higher rate of completed applications before and after?
Yeah, absolutely. And that goes back to what I was pushing forward right at the beginning of my last conversational part here, the mobile thing, because we now have a way to identify how we're going to reach out to these people. We're not demanding that they come in physically and appear here. And we know that they respond to text messages. We're able to reach out to them and get them to go on ahead and complete an application, as opposed to, as you said a second ago, getting them here physically and then getting the application done.
So I don't want to prematurely declare victory here because I know it's an open project or initiative with you. But when it comes to the driver qualification file, you're in the process of blowing out so that it stays digital. There's no stopping place where we're inserting paper that we have to scan in. So I know, like I said, I know you're halfway in midstream on that project, but tell us where you're at and what you're seeing so far.
We're making progress. One of the bigger challenges in that area is the driver. Like I said, they're really good at texting, but they're not so good at really taking pictures and sending them to you of things. So where JPEG, I guess maybe it's just they don't feel comfortable with it, or it seems like a task that you're giving them, and people don't like tasks if they don't have to do that. They'd rather literally pull out the license from their wallet, hand it to us to scan, or take a picture ourselves, I guess. Right, and which isn't the end of the world, because the license is still always going to be a physical thing.
Right.
My main goal is to avoid an I-9 becoming a piece of paper, or a W-4 becoming a piece of paper, or a Virginia 4 tax form becoming a piece of paper, because those are all electronic right now. And there's other examples. A road test. We do a road test for every driver. We've completely digitalized that. It was a piece of paper that was being filled out and then scanned in for years. So that took a while longer than I thought it would to transition over. But we had to test one way of doing it, and it completely failed. And then we had to get our self back together to circle back to that task and say, wait, what failed about that? Well, okay, just this part failed, so let's go ahead and attack it this way now that we understand exactly what A-Suite does for us. Because the first time we attacked the problem, we didn't have as much understanding of how to use A-Suite to put together that kind of record. But
well, we're also grateful for you because you were on pretty early on in A-Suite. And so you were willing to jump in and try some things that we had more ideas of than we had answers on. So we'll publicly thank you for that right here on this very little interview.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. It wasn't an A-Suite thing though. It was always possible from the moment A-Suite launched, and y'all left the other products to do what I'm doing now for the road test. I was too new to it. I didn't realize what I was trying to achieve, and I should have asked more questions. But sometimes you like to get your hands dirty,
For sure.
in order to see what your own self can produce.
So on that, but one thing I heard though, and this is always a concern that comes up, is, hey, so that's cool. I want to live the digital life too, but we're dealing with some drivers who may be a little bit more old school. And so while you're slowly pushing and the population is becoming more and more comfortable, you filling out digital forms, texting the image and sending back. But for that flip phone Fred out there, who's still not comfortable in that world or doesn't have that technology, you still got options. You can adapt. If you really need to shove that paper in front of them, you can sign it. If you really need to take a copy of or scan a copy of that license, you can do that. Are you seeing, Travis, that's becoming more of an outlier than the norm?
I'd like it to be. They are. I'd like it to be the norm, but they are unable. It's not really them. I want to blame the driver because that's easy for me in this situation, because I know that there is pushback there, but that's kind of something it's like a barrier I could force my way through if I had to, because it's really paper thin. The real barrier is just all the other stuff that is just not integrated yet with itself. I love A-Suite, and I can't wait for it to integrate with more and more things, and I know it's going to be able to, but I live in, I don't know, I was trying to calculate it the other day, but I think it's like 12 different portals.
Mm-hmm.
And 12 different portals that get as much of my time as they need, but it means another portal's not getting my time, and they all need a lot of my time if I'm going to use them for what they're actually capable of accomplishing. And we just got on with this portal for ease, which is a benefits related portal, and I have a payroll portal. And if ease, payroll, and A-Suite could all integrate, my life would be fantastic, I think, and we're going to get there. But the harder part is getting my payroll company to integrate, because they, I think, want to take over the world slowly.
We all do.
To integrate, they have to be willing to relinquish some of that power, maybe. But I'm getting applicants into A-Suite. Right away, I have all their data. So it should make sense that A-Suite should push out to all the rest of the portals I'm using. And it should be kind of the captain of the ship, because they're the applicant process. So I know you guys are willing to do that. One of the harder things is finding the time to negotiate that world with the people that may or may not be willing to do it, because I recently was trying to get a partner of ours that we do business with to try out e-ticketing instead of printing tickets and taking the ticket to the job. I have it's another portal, but a dispatch software that would allow for e-ticketing. And they literally came back to me and said, we've already invested in a scanner that we've set up to know where the truck number is and the weight is and the information and the ticket number is on every ticket. So we just put the tickets in the scanner and all that information is digitized. And I'm like, that's re-digitizing information that's already digital. And I'm trying to take the already digital information and get it to you within seconds of the truck being loaded. And you want to still wait for the paper ticket to come to you so you can re-digitize something that's already digital. And they're like, yeah, that's what we want to do. And that's the drivers of the paper that you can push right through and get them on board with the digital. But that small antidote is what the rest of the world is, and it's hard to compete with that.
But you're right, though. All we need is an API doc and a willing partner, and we're ready to integrate. So one piece that is integrated, and of course this is in our ecosystem, so it makes it a little bit easier to do that, is our learning management system. So you've been a big supporter of Triple LC from an instructor certification standpoint, and you've been spreading the good word of the A-Fleet, you know, throughout your organization. So, you know, tell us a little bit about what impacts are you seeing on your safety culture by adopting LLC?
We have always been a big proponent of improving a driver's unawareness or lack of awareness to their habits. So the LLC really contributes into the ability to spell that out for somebody in a polite way, in a conversational way, in an intellectual way, a way that can get a conversation going and point out a few things here and there, but then allow the conversation to go again later because you're still talking about something that has meaning to everybody and was already put in front of them in, like I said, a polite way. Or, I mean, polite may be overselling it, but it's a way that is relatable, that doesn't seem like you're pushing something on them that is going to harm, change, or denigrate them in any way. So LLC has really pushed us forward with our abilities to communicate what it is we're looking for as far as good habits from our drivers. And we've seen a lot of benefit from that, including bringing up people to become like driver trainers. That's been a real positive area because LLC has some learning courses in there on how to relate to people as well, and how the adult learner is different than what you were like when you were a kid learning in the educational systems that we have in our country.
Have you seen any impact on, you know, if we were to roll around some numbers with Brisk, have you seen the impact in your loss ratios?
Yes, I mean, well, I haven't done a good job of singling that out and kind of nailing that down, but you know, I'm superstitious a little, so I'll knock on wood, but I mean, we've had a very good loss ratio while being partnered with Brisk, and that partnership coincides with LLC. So yes.
I'm not going to with you, man. All right. Well, hey, we like to say we make our own luck around here. So just to wrap this up, just two quick last questions. So all in all, we touched on some recruiting components, the training components, and the compliance deal. You're overseeing all those areas. Overall, I mean, are you able to put down or factor an estimate of how many hours you're saving each week with these improvements and process in place?
I'm definitely saving time. So I'm not the kind of person, nor am I allowed to be the kind of person in the job that I have. It's a family business. We have 70 employees. My parents are the head of the business, but I'm running all the stuff that requires people to continuously ask questions and want more information about what it is we're expecting of them. So ultimately, my goal is to create opportunities for me to not be so bogged down by tasks and chores, so to speak, that I can't give people the time they need to help them get better at their jobs. And that's really where it's helped me. I'm still going to work somewhere between 50 and 60 hours a week. That's not going to change. I'm still going to take phone calls all the time at home, and I'm still going to hop on my home computer and do A-Suite stuff, and we're going to consider that just Travis being at home doing stuff. But I am able to do that with A-Suite and get away with holding together a happy life, a happy wife, a happy family, because I'm at the house. And the third-party option of A-Suite gives me that ability to see what I got going on with my applicants, see what I got going on with my employees, double check my compliances, which I normally would have had to go to the office to kind of weed through folders and see if people were out of date on anything from a medical card to a license to a hazmat endorsement to a TWIC card. Now I can hop online for 10 minutes if I have it, an hour if I have it, and I can be wherever I want to be and know that information. It makes a great big difference on balancing work and life. Even if I'm not spending a whole lot less time working, I'm able to address things more consistently and with better ability as a result.
So a better word might be repurpose than it is save, and more effective use of time. So as opposed to spending time on menial or clerical work, you're spending, I heard time, hey, I can spend more time with my people, with my drivers, places I want, my family, places I want to spend more time. And then the flexibility where, because you've got a, young boys, you need to go to karate class. Okay, well, let's leave the office, go to karate class. Maybe I get to finish that last 10 minutes of work, but family's the priority. I'm going to go do that. And then I can squeeze this in. You don't have to be the dad that doesn't show up or makes the kid wait for 30 minutes after class.
Right. Yeah. I can do it at 9 o'clock while I'm watching whatever my favorite show is.
The Redskins lose.
They don't play at prime time. You have to be good.
That does help. That does help. So to wrap it up, Mr. Travis, what would you say you love most about working with AvatarFleet?
The people, but the software is nice also. They got great customer support people. Karen Murphy is amazing. She responds right away. I oftentimes know that email is the easiest way for me to get something taken care of, because I can start an email and then get totally thrown off, but I can come back to that email, complete it, send Karen that email, and she'll have something to me in super quickly. It's great. But I mean, the software itself is amazing, and would be really amazing if I could just live in it like it was my home operating system. But like I said, I've got at least 12 other programs or portals that I'm jumping into. So there's always a new trick that I'm just missing, and that's what people like Karen really help with, and I greatly appreciate.
Cool. Appreciate the time, and thank you for the kind words.
Thank you.